Pashas Pinchas, Tafshin Pei. First time I'm going to repeat, I guess, in part a shiur, just because very tired today, and I'm going to have to can't go very much deep. So let's start. Indian I already know pretty well, so be a lot easier for me. The Indian is very simple. Maybe I'm going to touch more, so I'm going to go into the psukim. I'm not going to get here. I thought I would give a share on this, but I won't. The Parsha starts exactly the way Parsha's Balak ended. Pinchas with the myself Pinchas. The myself Pinchas didn't happen, is not recounted in our Parsha. It's in the end of Parsha's Balak. So it starts with Vayachel ha'am niznois bivnois Moav. The Bnei Yisrael started, basically, there were Vayeshev Yisrael Bashittim. Israel was camping in the Shittim. We already know that something is not correct because the Bnei Yisrael had only 42, they traveled 42 different places, and Shittim is not one of them. Arvos Moav is one of them. And when we pay attention between Parshas Chukas and Parshas Masei, we see that the last encampment they had was in Arvos Moav, meaning where they camped in Parshas Chukas. Since then, they haven't moved. So now, the pasuk says that they were encamping in Shittim. So right away there's something not going right, and then starts a very interesting ma'aseh. The ma'aseh that the Bnei Yisrael, not the Bnei Yisrael, the Erev Rav. This is the parsha where the Erev Rav is getting killed. So the Erev Rav is going to sin with the Bnei Moav, and again, we're going to try to see through the psukim and through the rishonim, where are the Bnei Moav here? We're not going to find them. We're only going to find Bnei Midian. So we see there's a lot of difficult layers in this whole ma'aseh that leads us to Pinchas. I want to take the ma'aseh from that moment on, from Pinchas, because every layer is extremely deep. I just gave you the headlines on everything when it goes down and understanding. So we have the Bnei Yisrael 9 Shittim, no matter if it's not that's what the pasuk says. And comes Zimri and holds Cosby by her hair and brings her before Moshe, say, is this one Muteres or this one is Asura? Just to show you the level of depth that's in here. Zimri is going to be the daughter of Balak by the Midianis. You understand the contrast here? If she's the daughter of Balak, she is a Moavis, not a Midianis. And she's a Midianis, how can she be the daughter of Balak? And so forth. So nothing is what it seems to be in this whole ma'aseh that leads us to the birth of a giant called Pinchas ben Elazar. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to use words to try to argue why would he receive such a huge present, such a huge reward. In other words, Pinchas is going to do something that was done before. That was done before by who? By Moshe Rabbeinu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided that the sin is punishable by death and destruction of the whole. I don't like to say, the habit is not to say Chaz v'Sham here when we talk negatively Bnei Israel. We say Sonei Israel, the haters of Israel. And that's what I'm going to use as a language. So he wanted to, on the enemies of Israel, he wanted to destroy them all. Comes Moshe Rabbeinu by the Egel, and he saved them. Comes Pinchas in our Parsha, and he saves them. However, the outcome is totally different. Moshe Rabbeinu gets no reward. Zero. He saved the whole Am Yisrael. Pinchas, there's no end to the rewards. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aharon HaKohen. You're going to see in the Mefarshim, they all ask, why is he, what is Yichus? The Pasuk had to bring the Yichus all the way to Aaron HaKohen. The real question is that those very words are said exactly 3 psukim before at the end of Parshas Balak. So why try to give us the yichus of Pinchas like we forgot within 3 psukim? You give it to us twice? That's the real question. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. Heishiv es chamasi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to use the lotion of the klippos that punish those who sin. We know that there are 3 klippos, and the name are, we say them every day in davening. Vehu rachun yechaper avein. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be mechaper. So every night we say this. It should be mechaper the sins. Velo yashchis. So mashchis is the first one. It's the worst. Vehirba lehashiv apoi. Af. Velo yakol chamasoi. Chema. Mashchis af chema are the 3 intermediaries. Call them the stick that's being used from Shamayim to punish the Reshaim. Even in Gehinnom, they are the Malachim being used in order to punish the Reshaim. So here, HaKadosh Baruch Hu only uses one of the Leshonis. Heishiv es chamasi. What's in this? What is this anger? The word chamasi is also anger. It's going to tell me about exactly what the Begam have they done with this chet. And the pasuk is gonna go on to say 3 types of kina. 3 times kina. Bekanoi eskinasi. 1, 2. It's a repetition. Bekinasi, you could have said. No, bekanoi eskinasi. What a language, so heavy. So, if you have a revenge, you have a revenge on someone. Bahem, not besoicham. Besoicham inside them. No, the revenge is on them, not inside them. So what is this lashon besoicham? Veloi chilisi. I didn't exterminate. Why would you? Well, the Erev Rav, we have a cloud. It says in the pasuk, Moshe Rabbeinu says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in Parshas Korach, Ha'ish echad yechta, one person will sin, ve'al kol ha'eda tiktzoif, and you will get angry on the whole nation? No, there's an address. There's someone who does right, is a righteous person. He deserves bracha. The one who is a rasha, he deserves a oinish. But what are these seemingly borderless rewards that we accept, or I should say, no, I shouldn't say reward, I should say punishment that we accept? All of a sudden, no. There's an address. A person does good, he receives good. He does bad, he receives bad. So why here all the Bnei Israel were caught into this while they were not part of? If we pay attention in the Psukim, it always says Ha'am. They were not part of that sin. So why would they all be liable? HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu in Parshas Kisisa, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, mi asher chatali, the one who sinned toward me, emcheinu misifri, him I will erase him from my book. So why him? So why all of a sudden all the Bnei Israel are jeopardized by a few that are not even Jewish? The Anani covered would not even cover them. They were outside the Anani covered. They were not protected by the from the elements in the midbar. So that shows you that we knew who they are. So there's a big difference. Who makes a chet? The son of the king, or a farfetched Eved all the way at the end of the nation? Kadosh Baruch Hu cannot put the same, judge us with the same seriousness on an action. So we have to understand here first what is the Pgam that was done, and then why Pinchas doing the same thing of Moshe Rabbeinu will get a reward that will go and be everlasting. That's Bikinasi, is the third time Kina. Lachen Eimer, therefore say, I don't know. You have psukim, we're going to see that you have no problem putting a pronoun 3 times and more. Hineni noisan loi, I give to him as Bris Shalom. Bris Shalom, I know what it is. As Bris Shalom, I have no clue what it is. Bris Yud, Bris Shalom, I don't know what it is. V'haisalo zaroi achrav, and he will get after this Bris Kehunas Olam, everlasting Kehuna, him and his children afterward, Tachas asher kinei leloika. Why? Because he avenged his God. Vaychaper al bnei Yisrael, and he was mechaper all the bnei Yisrael. These words are loaded with depth and understanding, and we're going to dwell on them in a little bit. So, again, just to summarize, Moshe Rabbeinu by the eagle saves the whole nation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu offered him to even make a nation out of him. He refused. He saves the whole nation. Pinchas saves the nation. In both cases, we really don't understand, and it's about time to be clear, why is HaKadosh Baruch Hu angry on the whole nation and comes out with the Gzadin on everyone? The one who sinned will have to carry his burden and finished. Why everyone? Enough with this thing. We don't have rules. Everyone. No, it's not everyone. By Korach, we didn't say on the whole nation, right? And over there, it was very important people, but not the entire nation was not in jeopardy. But in here, oh, everybody's in jeopardy. The second question is truly is in the pasuk at the end of Balak, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu refers to, well, it's going to say a little bit later, Tsaras Amidyanim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants his revenge from the Midyanim. Doesn't say Moabim, right? It says Midyanim. Because basically it's Bnei Midyan. It's not going to be Bnei Moab. It's going to be Bnei Midyan. So I could give a share just on these four words, Bnei Midyan and Bnei Moab. There's so much to learn, the behavior, the intention, the traits. I mean, I could just ask you a simple question. By Moab, it says, Moavi veloi Moavis. A Moavi, a male from Moab, is forbidden to come to be misgayer, to convert. We can accept him. However, a Moavis, we accept. By Midian, despite what they have done, and what the pasuk says, as a reason, because they didn't precede you with water and bread. Why did Midian precede us? They preceded us with bread and water? No. So why we don't say Midiani veloi Midianis? Why don't we also prevent the men from Midian of coming to the call? On top of this, the Midianim were brazen. The Mefarshim, the Midrashim explain exactly how the Bnei Israel tricked with the Bnei Midian. Had they done it, had they brought them to Avodah Zarah, exactly the whole Eitzah of Bilam. Oh no, but no. They'll have to come to. If I have time, I'll touch your word on this. Just give you one side. You're going to see that we don't read really the psukim with our eyes. We read them out of habit, but we don't read them with our eyes because it's loaded with the remazim in the psukim themselves. You know what? Let's take a deep dive. Why not? It's going to be a lot easier to explain once we go underwater, and we're going to see a huge world. Huge world, what's going on behind the scene here. The Yalkut Shimoni explains very simply, but very logically. And the truth is that what he says, I found almost word for word in Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer. And I believe that the Yalkut Shimoni, his Meker, is the Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer. But the Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer goes even further than the Yalkut Shimoni. So let's take it from the Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer. The reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him something called Bris Shalom is very simple. It's because he made peace between the Bnei Israel and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. With the Maaseh of Midian, there was a friction that happened between Bnei Israel and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Stood up a big Dayan who was a shofet, who was a judge in Israel. As it says in the Pasuk, Vayamod Pinchas in Tehillim, Vayamod Pinchas Vayepalel. Gemara says in Sanhedrin that it doesn't say Vayispalel. So what's Vayepalel? It's missing the sof, so it doesn't mean he prayed. Vayepalel is not Vayispalel. We can see the grammatical difference in here. Explained the Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer mean he shook them. He went to go to all the youth of the Bnei Israel, and he dragged them. He says, "Come after me. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do." And he wanted to give an example. When he took the spear from the hands of Moshe Rabbeinu. Yeah, like Moshe Rabbeinu walks in the Mishkan with a spear, right? Moshe Rabbeinu, we didn't have weapons going to war. No, but nobody has a problem. He took in his hand, because in case you're going to think he took it with his feet, a roimach. I mean, you see how loaded the psukim are. He took a spear in his hand, and he poked both of them, that the Zohar said he poked them in a way exactly how they did the chet. So everybody was saying that Zimri was chayev misa because the one who goes with a non-Jewish woman, the Kanaim, not today's Kanaim, not the Kanaim. The less they learn, the more they're Kanaim. We're talking about Kanaim, is when 100% of the intention is only for Hashem. The intention is not to avenge. The intention is to bring kapara on the rest of the Bnei Israel. This is a true Kanai. A Kanai is not somebody who has his hair, you wonder if they even know what the brush means or something like this. Looks terrible, and that's not a Kanai. That's an empty dirt bag. A Kanai is someone that's very learned. He knows his halachas, and he knows that at this time, exactly the Gzar Din that's on the Bnei Yisrael and the life of the tzaddikim is in danger. And in order to repair the breach, he's going to take the chote and punish him himself. That's all. That's a kanai. A kanai is someone, he seeks, kapara, the forgiveness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He seeks the reconnection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He seeks to avenge the name of Hashem in the meantime. But that's not the whole thing. The guy who's going to scream Shabbos on the street and throw a rock on someone's car on Shabbos, he was Mechal Shabbos just as much as the other guy. So there's no real difference. This is not a Kanai. Today we have no clue what Pinchas, how pure his intention, as the pasuk is made. The pasuk testified, Vaikane leloikav. Vaychaper al Bnei Israel. The purity of his intention is very clear in the pasuk. He wanted to avenge the name of Hashem in order to be mechaper on the Bnei Israel. That's all he does. But forcing people that never learned about Shabbos, never learned about anything, they go about their business. Yes, they're mechal Shabbos. Yeah, they are mechal Shabbos. But with what severity the Mechal Shabbos? Obviously not like you, that's going to throw a stone at them and you're going to create some destruction and much more. Obviously not. After 120, we're going to see who was more Mechal Shabbos. The one who carries in the Shosarabim and throw it, and he has a few Chilul Shabbos, or the one who never learned, and he's driving. That's all he knows. He didn't have the chance to have someone teaching him. He's a Katan Shenishba. He's not a mumar. A mumar is someone who does things because he doesn't believe. He wants to show that he is, he knows what to do, but doesn't believe, like Acher. Like these type of people, like the acrobat, these type of people are mamish mumari. However, someone who never learned, how dare you? How dare you even talk to him like this? The Torah, we have a love in the Torah. And the asay, mitzvahs asay, hoichliach es amisecha, veloi sisa alavche. You have to know how to make a teichacha, not to anger him, not in contrary, because you're going to do just the opposite. And remember what we learned a few weeks ago? Rabbi Arizal ben Azariah said, I believe that from my generation on, there's no one that can do teichacha anymore. We don't know how to do it, so we don't do it. And that's the time of the Tanaim. Over 2,300 years ago, we had to stop. So today we have to take someone who feels that he has this influx of Tanaim, because more and more today you have empty suits that have the Tanaim. They're better off going to someone and get a prescription pill to calm them down because it's all but not Tanaim. It's psychiatric issues they have. And the fact is that Kadosh Baruch Hu, what the Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer built on is Vate'atzar HaMagefa. The proof that, so Soif Ma'aseh B'Machshava Techila, you can see from the outcome what was the real purity of the intention of Pinchas. And what did he get in reward? The pasuk says in Malachi, Berisi Hoisa Itoi. What's Berisi that was given to him? My alliance is Hachayim, the life. I mean, a life that even the Malach HaMaves cannot stop. The Hashalom and the Shalom. I don't know what it means. I know what Achayim means. I don't know what Hashalom means. Hashalom, I don't know what it means. We're going to have to understand, these words. In other words, Pinchas was given life for eternity. Never die. Comes the Ibn Ezra says, how can you say? Very interesting. The Ibn Ezra, I love the Ibn Ezra. Tzaddik, like a luminary, a mekubal, a pashtan, also knew how to go into pshat in the words. He was extremely poor. Nebuch, nothing. He had no hatzlacha. To the point that, I know I said it to some of but I need it to be recorded. I need people to understand the godless of the Ibn Ezra, because what he's going to say is tremendous. The Ibn Ezra said that if he would start selling wax, there'll be no night anymore. There'll be day all the time. To tell you to the level, anything that he would touch would not work. So now he would sell wax for people to make candles. There would be no need of candles anymore. There'll be no night anymore. That's the suffering. But the Torah he received, the Ibn Ezra, is a holy Torah. He says it's impossible to say that Pinchas lived forever. He says, because in the pasuk he says, I'm going to give him my alliance, Bris Kehunas Olam, Acharav. After him, there will be his descendant will be Kohanim. The word Acharav means there is an after. And what's an after? The aftermath of Pinchas, meaning he will die. So from there is medagdeg the Ibn Ezra that Pinchas, you can't say like the Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer. Wow. Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, the Rebbe of Rabbi Akiva, and comes after, generations after, a Rishon, and says, I'm sorry, Rabbi Eliezer, I got he can live forever. This is a tough machlekes. How can a Rishon say on a Tana that Pinchas didn't live forever when Rabbi Eliezer Agadol, the one who told the walls of the Beis Midrash, if the halacha was like him, they should ban, they did. The one who told to the sycamore, if the halacha is like me, move, I don't remember how many amos, and the sycamore went and moved. Comes the Ibn Ezra, says, no. Though we have there are some psukim that would enlighten us, and actually not like the Ibn Ezra. We read in Pashas Chukas in the Haftarah the story of Yiftach HaGiladi. Yiftach HaGiladi was banned from his family. He had an aristocratic family, and the pasuk says Vehu ben Isha Zoina, he was from a different woman. So the brothers didn't want to keep him because his blood was not as red as their blood. Therefore, they banned him, and he went, lived his own life. But when Bnei Yisrael, the Melech Amoin, came up on the Bnei Yisrael to claim ownership of the land of Sichon that the Bnei Yisrael conquered, all the elders of Bnei Yisrael got very scared, and they went to Yiftach and said, Yiftach, please lead us, because only you can be victorious in this situation. Yiftach told them, you hated me, you banned me. Whatever is going to be, and Chazal say, Yiftach bedoiroi ki Shmuel bedoiro. Yiftach was so great in Torah that he was just as a luminary of Shmuel in his generation. Yiftach was a big shofet. It's recorded in the Shoftim, this story. So Yiftach, so he sends to the Melech Bnei Ammon and he tells him, come on, you wake up after 300 years and you're telling me that you have a claim on this land. That's not fair. What have you done all these years? Why do you come just now? He says, you're being unfair with me. So Bnei Ammon is asking for the wives of no, I'm going to mix two stories with Achaz. No, that's not the story. So he told him, whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu our God gave us, we keep the same way that when your God gives you, you keep. He went with only a few hundreds to the Milchama, Yiftach, and decimated Ammon. But what we see from this story is, and Yiftach, sorry, I didn't finish the story. The Yiftach made, prior to go to war, made a neder to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if you save me and give me victory, the first one that's going to go through the door, the gates of my house, will be Kodesh Lashem. I'll sanctify to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When Yiftach came back, the first one that came out of the house to greet him was his daughter. And she became Kodesh. She can get married. The truth is, she had to be sacrificed. Well, Chazal went, she had to live alone. So Chazal asked him, why did he go to Pinchas? He was the Kohen Gadol. He could have been Matir the Neder, because he never had in mind that if he would be his daughter, he would have made such a Neder. Because he said, I'm now the leader of the Bnei Yisrael. Okay, Chazal asked, so why didn't Pinchas go to him? It's because he holds, I'm the Kohen Gadol, and I'm the oldest. Chazal didn't approve of the behavior of both to have this, and who suffered in the middle was the daughter of Yiftach. we see that over 300 years after the conquered the lands of Sichon and Og, Pinchas HaKohen was still alive. He was, through the whole Sefer Yehoshua, with Yehoshua when they conquered Eretz Yisrael and so forth. He was with Yericho, with Caleb. So many hundreds and hundreds of years afterward, Pinchas was still alive. You see that not like the Ibn Ezra. Moshe Rabbeinu only lived 120. No one surpassed Moshe Rabbeinu after that. That was it. Moshe Rabbeinu was the first one to put that limit. He lived 120 and no one ever reached more, Aaron went 123, it was 120. But here we see that Pinchas lived over 300 years. The Gemara in Sanhedrin explain on this pasuk on Tehillim that Vayamoid Pinchas Vayepalel. The Gemara says, I'm going back a little bit just to go and emphasize, because you're going to see today things with your eyes that going to give you, I'm going to create a scale in your head, that this scale will tell you when and what to say or not to say. You're going to see, but you may not verbalize it. You don't have a right to say anything. Or on the contrary, sometimes you must say something. And it's so blurred that I'm going to clarify it with this Gemara here. So here the Gemara will learn that Pinchas Vayepalel, what is Vayepalel is from the Lashon Klilos, arguments, fights. It's not a good word. So the Malachi Asharis wanted to push him away. They wanted to punish him, in other words. Who starts Chaz v'Shalom with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to stand and defend him, stop, because his intention is pure. He is Meshiv Chema. Heshiv es Chamasi, he is Meshiv Chema, meaning he stops anger. Son of someone who stops anger. Rashi explained. He's a Kanoi from Shevet Levi. What did the grandfather do when Shechem kidnapped Dinah and raped her? They went with Shimon and they killed Anshe Shechem. Interestingly, this Maaseh now reverberates all the way down to Pinchas. Pinchas is from Shevet Levi. Zimri ben Salu is the Nasi of Shimon. And Chazal say, shame on him, on Zimri, that his father, which is Shimon ben Yaakov, went and to fight the Klippa because he avenged his sister. He avenged the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and him, a Shofet BeYisrael, a Nasi BeYisrael, is not holding onto the derech of his forefathers. In contrary, he reneges publicly the derech of his forefathers. He's finished. You see here very clearly, the Gemara gives you some boundaries, where and when. In other words, when a person is a Kanai ben Kanai and he's holding onto his forefathers' ways, It's acceptable. It's acceptable. When a person reneges his forefathers' ways, and not only in private but in public, that's not okay. That's not a time you're quiet, because it's within him. In other words, what the Gemara, Chazal, what they reveal us, it's within him to do the right thing, and you need to wake him up. This inside him. So one in Pinchas say nothing, because the bestial way the Maaseh of Zimri was done showed he reached the point of no return. And I'm going to explain. A person speaks through his actions also. He doesn't have to explain you a lot of time what he does. His actions speak very loud. And when Zimri did that, who did he go after? Moshe Rabbeinu. What did Moshe Rabbeinu do to Zimri? Nothing. Nothing. However, Zimri takes Moshe Rabbeinu as a target. Who permitted your wife? She's also a Midianist. She's the daughter of Israel. Here, this one also is a Midianist. If your Midianist is Muteres, my Midianist is Muteres. Just to show you, I'm not going to go into this argument. It's not part of the shiur, but just to unveil you the stupidity of these words that were said. The empty words. Why? Because, first of all, Moshe Rabbeinu was before Matan Torah. So even if you want to say that his Midianist was Muteres, was before Matan Torah. Number two, she was misguided. Number three, she showed she had the midas of a Bas Yisrael. Besides which Gilgul she was. I'm not going to go there. I told you, I'm not going to go into Sipora is. But she fed Moshe Rabbeinu 10 years when he was in the Beor, in the pit, in the dungeon. Not the dungeon, in the whatever, in the Beor. What did this one do? Cosby did just the opposite. Cosby wanted to entrap Moshe Rabbeinu in order to sin. That's so we're talking about two different individuals. Because they have a word in common, they call me Midianists, you're going to even them up? I mean, are you normal? You Zimri, are you normal? So it means, oh, you accepted a gear from Venezuela. I mean, all the Venezuelans are permitted. Or you refuse a gear from Germany, means all the Germans are also. Obviously not. It's a case by case. So it was an aberration. This argument and Pinchas understood. He was Meitzi Asatzmoi Mina Olam. He was not talking anymore with the logic. And this was a proof that he went off the cliff and there was nothing else to do. The only thing to do is to use him. And that's the only schus he's going to have to go back into Gilgul. And being saved. It's a tremendous Maaseh here, and on which the Rama Mipano on the Gilgul and Neshama is explained, but again, it's a different shiur of this. Just with what we said, I think we can already start analyzing a few of the words and answer a few of the questions we had on the psukim. So we wanted to know what kind of chet was done. Maybe I should copy a pasuk here first. Let me copy a pasuk. It's on page 50. That's 16. The pasuk says, "V'shalachti bachem cherev." See, cherev noikemes nekam beris. You see again this double nekama. This is going to lead us to understand who's cherev, a sword. Cherev we explained that already before. I'm just going to go very quickly. Equals to 10 equals 10 times K. In other words, it tells me it's the Bina in full. Once you have the Cherev is when the Bina has its 10 midos, and at this point it comes and itself it avenges. So whenever there is a nekama, when the bris is not kept, therefore the bina is going to come out and avenge it. Fine. I see the time flying. I may jump to after that Bris Shalom because there's a huge side here, and I promised to Jeff that I'm going to speak about Yosef here because Yosef is all the way completely involved in this mindset. But so if I make it, great. Otherwise, I'll ask for your apology, Jeff, and hopefully the words are going to come out. It's a huge side here that what it says in the in these words. So anyway, so we have Noikemes Nekamberis. So wherever there is a chilul of the bris, automatically the bina comes and avenges it. We had the word veloi chilisi. We asked a question from the pasuk that, so we see that when the bris happens, we have a double nekama. We have a nekama. Why? Because two midos are being I want to say disrespected, or just to use a light language. It's Kucha Berichu, it's Akodesh Baruch Hu, and it's the Malchus. There are two vengeance here to avenge. Who are Kucha Berichu and the Shechina? They are the children of the Bina. Go after a duck with their babies, try to take a baby, or try to do this to a hen, and try to take a baby when she just walks with her babies. Despite being in the front, she has the eyes covering all of them. Go try this. You're going to see a lion jumping at you. Completely with her beak, she'll destroy the persons. It's very, very, very dangerous, this. Very, very. I know the baby is so cute and everything. Just try to take a baby from a hen. You will see. The Bina comes out with a vengeance. Whenever the what is called a chilul, it's called desecration of the bris that affects, in a way that affects the Kudsha Barichu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the Malchus. This is when this happens, and automatically there is death. In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we say, Erech Apayim ve'Rav Chesed ve'emes. Yeah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Erech Apayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what's Marich Af, has patience and wait. Like for the Arizal, it says Upakati Aleihem, and Chazal explained there that there is no tzara that comes to Am Yisrael when there's no part of it is from the Arizal. Yes, there is such a concept, but this is for Avodah Zarah. Even though Avodah Zarah is very important, this is for Avodah Zarah. However, when the bris is involved, there's no erech apayim. There's no waiting. The oynesh is immediate. And that's why as soon as the bris is desecrated, and especially in public like he was right now, at this point, it's not mashchis av chema that come out, it's the bina itself that comes out and demands the din. And how he demands the din, with a sword in the hand, he kills, then asks questions. We have here veloi chilisi. I didn't exterminate, and we ask the question from a pasuk, ha'ish yechta ve'al kalam tiktoif. One person will be choite, and the whole nation will have to suffer the consequences. Here I wrote it today already. And I'm going to go a layer deeper than this. Chilisi equals 470 equals yehi-or by he-or. In other words, it's not because the bris is anything special rather than Avodah Zarah, it's because it's the switch of the light of the world. We had v'choshech al pnei sehoim. Before we had light, we had choshech. And after that, right after that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Yehi or, the first thing, Yehi or Vayhi or. Automatically life can start because there is light. Now, someone who desecrates the bris in this fashion is turning off the light of the world. That's what this word comes to tell us. The extermination is not done by HaKadosh Baruch Hu in retribution for the chet, is done by the person who has carried out his ma'aseh the way he did it. Yehi or, and we're going to see where the words that Phinehas had to correct the chet in order to bring back the light. But at this point, the light of the world was removed. Only choshech was remaining. So now we have here Bekanoi Eskinasi, and we have to explain Veloi Chilisi es Bnei Yisrael Bekinasi. Now we know why the three kinos here. It's because we're talking about Kudsha Barichu, Shechina, the Malchus, and here we're talking about the Bina. Veloi Chilisi es Bnei Yisrael Bekinasi, because, in other words, we have Yud K and we have Vav K. The way life comes in this world, it starts from Yud K, which here you have Keser, Chochma, and Bina. It goes through Vav Hey, through the 7 midos, the 7 days of the week, put it that way, and comes to the people. But if you sever that connection here, which is the Oyer, which makes it between the Yud K and Vav K, it's the Tzinoyer. As long as we have Oyer in between, because you know what the Gematria of Yehi Oyer Vayhi Oyer. Yehi Oyer is the Ralab. Vayhi Oyer is Rachel. You know that, right? Hopefully you remember. So here you have, for those who are not familiar with this, Yehi Oyer is these four names that are in the Chacham. Yud Hey Vav Hey, Yud Hey Vav Hey, Yud Hey Vav Hey, Yud Hey Vav Hey. Four writings against the Yud, the Hey, the Vav, and the Hey. And because of this, this is the light. So when you remove the light of the Chachma, the Bina has no more ways to get the light. Right away, she becomes a Cherev. And Vayhi Oyer, and the Oyer went all the way to the Malchus, to the lowest Midah, which is Rachel. That's why he calls 232, because these four names, Ab, Sag, Ma, Ben, equals 232, plus the Midah of Rachel. So you have 470. It's 10 times Yud Ke Vav Ke plus 10 times Ke Ye, okay? Now, what is this? To understand, we have to learn. I have it here. I have it here. Interestingly, we have Cherev Noikemes Nekamberis. Cherev Noikemes, if you add, equals 800 plus the two Koilim, 802. Exactly Nekamberis. This pasuk is Mida Keneged Mida. Why is the Cherev Noikemes? Because there was a Nekamberis. Okay, great. I'd like to know what this Nekamberis is. So the Nekamberis is, if you take Mate HaElohim, what Moshe Rabbeinu had in his hand when he said the Roimach, he had the Mate, right? Moshe Rabbeinu had the Mate of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Mate HaElohim in full, like if we take Mem, Tes, Hey, Aleph, Lamed, Hey, Yud, where am I? Yud, Mem, equal 802. So basically, the mate is always a lashon, the stick, the punisher. So the cherev noikemes is inachinami, the mate ha'eloikim. And interestingly, it's exactly the value of Ana Hashem Ishiana, Ana Hashem Atzlichana. Now here you get a kavana, the free bonus. What do we say when we say Ana Hashem Ishiana, Ana Hashem Atzlichana? Everyone thinks, wow, that's the time I'm going to think about Panasa Hashem Ishiana, give us a Yeshua and be Matzliach. Not at all. Not at all, my friend. The whole inyan here of Ana Hashem Ishiana and Ana Hashem Atzlichana is the inyan to be away from punishments, from Cherev Neikemes. We don't know what we have done. Kel Hashem, right away we say Kel Hashem Vayoyer Lanu. Right after this, what it means, because through our actions we have maybe in part, or maybe Chas v'Shalom more than in part, contributed to turn off the lights of the world. So we didn't do it intentionally. We didn't do it brazenly. HaKadosh Baruch Hu help us to find our way and get our way back to you. And that's what he says. Kel Hashem vayorer lonu. The yichud of Kel Hashem will again enlighten our path, so we will have a way to redeem our actions. Okay. Bekanoi eskinasi. So now we know exactly on the top layer what bekanoi eskinasi means. But if we take it fully here, bekanoi eskinasi, as you can see, it's great when it's already written. I forgot to copy the yud. Equals 1,121, equal Kriya Shema. The same way, I cannot word the importance of keeping one's mouth. Remember, this is one part of what we do with our mouth. We cannot explain the greatness of this Kriya Shema. It's impossible to comprehend. It's either you understand it or you don't understand it. Dari HaKodesh says in Shar Kavanos, in Kriya Shema Lamita, that when a person says Kriya Shema Lamita, he kills 1,125 mazikim. The Marcho says, it's Talmud Reb Chaim Vital, if the least important of the Kriya Shema kills 1,125, Kol Sheken, the one you say in Ma'ariv, which is Midoraisa. Kol Sheken, the one you say in Shachris, which is Midoraisa. Because even in the Kavanas, they're not the same between the one in Shachris and the one in Ma'ariv, much less the one in Ma'ariv. It's like someone who sleeps doesn't have the same vitals and doesn't require the same energy to sleep as he needs to go through the day. And you can see then the one from Ma'ariv exponentially much more. So what did Pinchas do here? He didn't want to have any being affected by any pull, being pulled by any feeling or the wrong motivation or chas v'shalom, the wrong intention. He wanted to be exclusively for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for the name of Hashem. In other words, don't send the bina here with the cherev. I'll do the job myself. And I'll punish him. And I'll punish the one who brazenly did what he did. And that's the Maaseh. So when he said it with the Kavanas in order to be able also, since the Chitzonim are the power, basically, they cannot fight back. When we say Kriya Shema, they cannot fight back. So automatically, he enabled himself to go and carry out the Maaseh that he was going to carry out. Now it says an interesting language here. Besoicha. This equals 468. This equals to Aaron, Pinchas, David. What is he saying here? What is HaKadosh Baruch Hu telling us here? Bekanoi eskin asi besoicha. the fact that they had touched the Or Olam, it affects the lineage and continuation of the Bnei Israel. What did the Gemara say? Meshiv Chema ben Meshiv Chema, the one that gonna be able to temper the anger. Who are they? 3 people. In the whole nation till the end of time. Aaron, Pinchas, and David. Amongst them, there was only 3. Aaron, Pinchas, and David. Now let's go a little bit, I want to go a little bit deeper here. It says Asher. You know that Asher equals 501. You know already by far that it's the Malchus. And you know it's the 3 letters in the word Yisrael. In other words, there's a tremendous side here. The side of HaKadosh Baruch Hu being within Yisrael, or Chas v'Shalom not. It says in the Pasuk, and I know the time is, I even haven't started the shiur yet, you know that. Where is the Pasuk? Let me grab this Pasuk here. It's going to go a bit quicker. There's a tremendous, tremendous side here. I don't remember what. No, I'm not sharing this. Stop sharing. Share. Sure. We have Yashem Eloikecha mishalech bekerev machanech. Watch out, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes within our camp. Your camp. My camp. Machane Yisrael. What do you mean machanecha here? Here we have the side, how the light comes down to the Bnei Yisrael. Bekerev machanecha equals 422. Equals arich anpi. There is life. There is protection. There is power. There is victory. As long as the Keser, which is arich anpin, is sending the oil. There is bracha. There is a kohen. There is an Aaron. There is birkas kohanim when it starts from the Keser. When the oil from the oil and soif comes down from Arichanpin to Aaron HaKohen, goes on the beard, the Shemen HaTovi becomes the oil that comes down, and this oil, it's the brach. And all this stuff, and we cannot live without it. It's impossible to live without it. Understanding this, Pinchas accepted to die. When he said Kriya Shema, he didn't say Kriya Shema as someone who wants to be Yotze from Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. He said Kriya Shema like the one who's ready to go from this world to the next world. He was ready to die. He returned his neshama to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I will obviously die in what I'm going to undertake. And in order for someone, so the mazikim cannot touch his neshama when he leaves this world, because this is the time where they can entrap it. When a person leaves and his neshama is surrounded by Kriya Shema, it cannot be touched. That's the importance of saying vidui and saying Kriya Shema before leaving this world. This is the importance when we say Nefilas Apayim after Shmoneh Esrei. We do not understand what we're doing. But if we would know what we do Nefilas Apayim, nobody would do it 1, 2, 3. It's basically surrounding ourselves exactly the same way that when we say Kriya Shema and leave this world, we are protected. When the person is going to go in the world, when he say Nefilas Apayim and he shows like he dies, like he returns his neshama to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, at that point, he's being encapsulated. That's in Shara Kavanis on Nefilas Apayim. I don't know why I'm there, but I'm there. So Pinchas here was carrying out his last mission, knowing that it's impossible that he will make it out alive. And he knew a pasuk. And this pasuk is, sorry, I'm not going to copy. The pasuk is, it says, Ve'asuli mikdash ve'shachanti besoicham. Okay, you see now, besoicham, you know exactly what it means, the correction of the oir. Here it doesn't say, even though we talk about the Mishkan, it doesn't say Mishkan, it says Mikdash, right? There was no Beis HaMikdash at that time. Mikdash equals 444. The 4444. What is the side of this Mikdash? We know there's no, unless we bring everything to letters, meaning we have not been going deep enough. Because everything, even a structure, even a house, even bricks together, their power to be cemented together is only through the power of the letters. So unless we understand these letters, what do they mean? We have not understood anything. And why the Torah changed the language here while talking about the Mishkan is saying Mikdash. All about Parshas Re'ei, ve'halachta el ha'makoim, ve'reisas ha'makoim, makoim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu calls the Beis HaMikdash all the time makoim, which is 186, which is Yud times Yud plus Hey times Hey plus Vav times Vav plus Hey times Hey. So it's a Yud-Ke Vav-Ke, and we know what happened when letters clash. There's an oir. So there's a special oir in the Beis HaMikdash. That's the first thing. Okay, I'm quite far away because I'm having here 186. I'm missing 258. Now go to the line. I'm missing 258 to make it to the Mikdash. Now, if you go Yud-Ke Vav-Ke, Ab, Sag, Ma, Ben, you have it. You want to know which light you have in the Beis HaMikdash? You have the light of the Keser. You have the light when the letters clash. This is the oir stronger than the oir of Ma'aseh Bereishis. So Pinchas knew he had to go into that place to pull back the oir from the Mikdash and bring it back out and save it. And reinstate it. You know, the oir of Ma'aseh Bereishis. How is he going to do that? That was I'm going to finish on this because I'm so late. There's two words here. Kinasi, Chamasi, these are the words that, that stand out in the HaKadosh Baruch Hu try to hint us what Pinchas did. Look, when the pasuk hints, don't be tough-headed. Just take the heat. Kinasi, Chamasi. Fine. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you want to tell me there I'm going to know Pinchas? Yeah. 1019. What did he do, Pinchas? It says in the pasuk, Vaychaper b'nei Yisrael. Just want to know you're on the right tracks. That's it. It's that simple. Now you know that in the Kinasi and Chamasi, you have the reason why it's negoi for four. That this whole myself Pinchas. You understand the reason why they went down into the pitfall, and you understand also the reason how Pinchas corrected it and brought them back up, and turn on the oil of the Ma'aseh Bereshis. How the oil came back, and why the Choshech, which is Bilam, how is he going to be finished? And how Pinchas now can send out Tzliya, that was his name, to go after. So Pinchas is going to go up in the air to bring down Bilam, but Tzliya is the one who's going to take the sword. So you know the story, the Zohar that Kodesh. So they started taking swords and try to stab Bilam. It wouldn't work. They were not successful. They could not stab him with a sword. So seeing this, Pinchas told him, take a sword that has a nachash on each side, and with that sword, kill him, and he will die. And indeed, now where is he going to find? He's on the battlefield with the Midyanim, Bnei Yisrael pursuing them. Those who came after Pinchas, they start killing. I mean, what? You're going to start drawing a nachash on this? Do you remember what we learned about the Charba Kadisha? Do you remember what we've learned, what there is on the Charba Kadisha, which is the Cherev of the Malchus? This is what it had. This is when a Ben Israel is using the Cherev Pifiyos Beyadam. It has two edges. It has two Nechashim on each side. On this, the Nechashim run away. This is this Cherev with which Tzliya killed Bilam. And indeed, was Miskayim what he wanted at the end. Tamois nafshi mois yesharim. I should have the death of a just. What is the death of a just? Even when a Ben Israel is chayav misa, who carries out the death? The Sanhedrin. Why? Because they don't let the other side, they don't pass a Jew, we're not moiser to the other side, because they're going to keep him even when he's dead and steal his neshama to the dark side. So that's why they keep him. And Bilam was handled to the next world through Ben Israel. And that's why at the end of time, he will have a tikkun. Aleph planning out, Bes Hashem, and all the time. Been a tough week, but